People are saying you're the next Louis C.K., not in a stylized sense, but in like
I'm a balding redhead?
Yeah.
Other than that.
Ron Howard, Louis C.K., Bill Burr.
Yeah, you got to watch out for us balding redheads. We're coming on.
Stand-up comedy is all about perspective. What perspective does this guy have on life? How do they see things from their point of view? And if you were to describe Bill Burr, you would say his perspective is anger. Rage. A lot of things are pissing him off. But not the obvious things that apply to you or me. Anyone can do that.
And I hated how Oprah was interviewing him and acting like she was dumbfounded that this guy would do this. Like, she's been in show business for 35 years and she can't, like, wrap her head around some guy doing whatever it takes to get to the next level. Didn't she, for the first 5 years, have, like, midgets who wanted to bang their mailman's boyfriend? And she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it, but she didn't have the power to say no, so she wrote it out. And then when she could make a good decision, she did a show, but she stood on the heads of those little people for 5 years.
This is a guy who was never supposed to make it. A guy who took the long road to becoming one of the biggest stand-up stars in the world. A true comedian's comedian. So let's take a closer look. Bill started performing stand-up aged 23 in Boston. And for someone who's known for being brash and confrontational, he actually worked for several years as a clean comedian, as he didn't want to offend audiences or get on the wrong side of people in the industry. But these early years were a struggle, full of minimal success and constant depression. Then he made a key decision that transformed his act and outlook in life. He decided to stop working clean, and to only talk about what he specifically thought was funny. He turned depression into anger, and anger into fuel for comedy.
That's what I've learned.
Oh, God.
You know what makes women happy? Nothing. Nothing makes them happy, and that is why they are slowly taking over the NFL, because it annoys them that we can just sit there with, like, a pizza and a drink, like, that's not holding, and just be like, and enjoy ourselves.
So you're saying that because you're happy that you think your wife and women in general want to take
They're jealous of it. They're jealous how simple the male brain is, that you can just sit there and be entertained and find true happiness, and it just bugs them, so they gotta ruin it.
The Boston comedy scene is known to be fast and aggressive, and this really left an impression on Bill in his formative years.
I don't know what the problem is. Like, people always ask me, what is Boston like? I always go, it's like a racist San Francisco. It has the same quaintness, perfect size.
Yeah.
You want to get on a sailboat?
Yeah, history.
And then throw in the N-word?
Yeah.
And there's Boston.
And taking his cue from successful aggressive comedians like Chris Rock, he worked and worked and worked, performing up to 300 shows a year. He would discuss topics like his childhood, pop culture, and sports. But not in a way you'd expect.
A little bit about you, and it says that you have a tendency to kind of go with your first thought.
Yeah.
Because reading makes you sleepy.
That's right. And my first thought is this is the best week to be here, the week before the Super Bowl.
That is so true.
Before all the whores fly in, you know?
Yeah. But
Just want to get out.
Wow.
Just want to get out of here before that. What is true? This is like the Oscars for prostitutes.
Okay, all right.
This entire week.
Let's remember we're G-rated here.
He knew he wasn't going to be an overnight success. There would be no single breakout moment for him. But he knew if he kept grinding away, he would only get better. And audiences would soon flock to see him.
Dave Chappelle, I remember in like 1998, he said to me, he was sitting on the stairs waiting to go on. I was on stage at the Cellar, you know, the stairs you come down.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and just waiting to go on, heard some of the stuff I was doing, and he told me, he basically said, you know, the road that you're going, he goes, it's going to take you longer, but when you hit, you're going to hit hard.
In his own words, Bill became a comedian because it was the easiest way for a room full of strangers to actually like him. But the more he worked, the more his confidence grew. And nothing better exemplifies this than his notorious Philly rant. In 2006, as part of a comedy tour with various fellow stand-ups, the afternoon Philadelphia crowd were not in a good mood and tore into most of the acts. Bill wasn't having any of it, and laid right back into them.
A lot of people know about that famous, that when you took it out on Philly, because they were a bad crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Your famous rant, which you've since said you like Philadelphia, and that wasn't the issue. You were just giving...
People in Philly don't even remember. Basically, if you haven't seen it, I was doing a show for the Opie and Anthony radio program, and they had this show called The Traveling Virus, and we were doing these, like, 10,000 seaters, and we went to Philly, and they're notorious for booing people, and they booed the first guy off stage, and I went on, like, 3 hours after that. So by the time I got up there, it was a complete shit show. And... I don't know. They started booing, and I snapped and decided I wasn't going to leave, and I just attacked everything that they loved.
And well. Yeah.
Part of his appeal is his guy-in-the-bar charm. Someone who has had a few drinks and has stopped giving a damn. He also has a mischievous look on his face when he sees he's broached a sensitive topic and is having fun doing it. Few topics are no-go areas. After Steve Jobs passed away, Bill wasn't buying into all the adulation and hero worshipping.
I didn't get it. I didn't get the big deal they made about that guy. When he died, they were like, he changed the world. That was insane. He changed the world. The world was one way, and then Steve Jobs came, and it was another. What did he do? Somebody, for the love of God, what the did that guy do? What did he do? He told other people what to invent? I want my entire music collection in that phone. Get on it! Right? And then these poor, nameless, faceless scientists got to go in a back room and figure it out. How the are we going to get all of this into this? I mean, what year does this guy think this is? This is crazy. This is like Buck Rogers. Dude, my kid has a birthday in like 11 months. Steve Jobs just walking by. I don't hear any thinking going on in there. Just strutting around the office, eating some pretentious fruit like a pear, right? Just throwing out ideas. There's another one. There's another one I just came up with on the way to work. I was reading a magazine the other day, turning pages, you know? I like to turn pages on a screen that aren't even there. Yeah, wrap your heads around that, guys. See you in 8 years. Where you going, Michael? Big, little, get on it!
Another turning point in his career was when he decided to shave his head. He knew Hollywood would never be interested in a short red-headed guy as a leading man, so screw them, I'm going to look how I want and say what I want.
Your Christian background is part of the show. Or
Yes, and I wanted
episodes.
to talk to you about Jesus after this.
Well, the only reason why I bring it up is some people thought maybe you went a little too far. You know.
As far as what?
Well, they thought that maybe you were being disrespectful to the Christian religion.
Who did?
I'm telling you, you need to Google.
Oh, good Lord.
So did you feel you were being
some...
disrespectful, or just you were just having fun with some of the crucifixes and stuff like that?
I don't even know what I mean, we did maybe 2 jokes about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you think the Catholic Church went a little too far? More so than my cartoon.
All right, listen.
A couple of jokes. I know this is a morning show. You can't bring up all those crimes.
You know what? Technically...
Well, they just sort of kept moving them around. You know, like those killer whales at SeaWorld? After it kills a trainer, they'll then move it up to Seattle. They don't give them their background.
All right, I'm not totally following, but...
Bill developed a talent for perfecting the balance between dark comedy and observational humor. And this style found a home as a supporting cast member in Chappelle's show during 2004. One of Bill's most powerful weapons is that he just doesn't care what the internet thinks of him. He has developed his own style and own audience, so if a few bloggers or tweets get angry about what he says, it doesn't bother him, as in the grand scheme of things, it's inconsequential.
He said something offensive or not, I just thought it was that one guy went home like with, I guess, the greatest memory ever, like a stenographer, and typed it out, and everybody's like, that's what he said, and that's what he meant, because guy in seat number 5F said it. And next thing you know, he's going around got to apologize. That's kind of a scary thing as a comedian. Well, I've seen Tracy's act, like, his show is crazy. His show is pretty over the top.
Tracy's genuinely
So it's not like he's up there like, what's up with end tables, and then goes into that shit. And that's
when it comes to me, where you're doing like this selective getting offended.
Bill Burr has cited his all-time top comedians as Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Bill Cosby, Sam Kinison, and Patrice O'Neal. Cosby aside, what all these comedians have in common is their fearlessness. Just going on stage and saying what they want, what they find funny, and waiting for the audience to catch up with them.
Sugar Shea Mosley, one of the greatest boxers of all time, he's losing his championship belt in a divorce. Losing, yeah, it's like you're trying to break a man. Why does she want those? Right?
Break a man.
They go with their shoes. You know? No, and I love how when you get a divorce, all of a sudden it costs like 50 grand a month to give a kid Fruit Loops. Right? These guys, I'm telling you, there is an epidemic of gold-digging whores in this country, and it is just not being addressed.
And Bill has now taken this to a level where he is one of the few comedians that can sell out arenas like Madison Square Garden and the Royal Albert Hall. And although he has matured and mellowed since becoming a husband and father, there's still plenty of fuel to keep that fire burning for a long, long time.
How many times are they going to make that movie? You know that movie? The white person goes into the projects. They just have to make a difference. You know, they just made that movie again with, what was it, Hilary Swank? It's like, did you even need to go see it? It's like, let me guess, she shows up and they don't accept her, right? And she goes home, she cries to her effeminate boyfriend who's wearing sweatpants and he's cooking something for some reason, right? And he convinces her to give it one more chance, right? So then she goes back down there, she starts drawing out their inner beauty. Next thing you know, they put a do-rag on her, she starts dancing. And it's just embarrassing for all races involved. For the love of God, stop making that